We're back. Did you miss us?
Oh, you should.
Sorry we've been away for so long, guys. Been taking care of a little bit of business. Baby Blake number 2 is a little bit closer to coming along, and
8 months.
Just been trying to get our lives together for that blessed day when she comes into our life.
Yeah, baby girl.
So Joy, we've been away for so long and so much stuff has happened over it's almost been 5 weeks since we've recorded.
Oh, okay.
But how about, let's give the viewers our listeners a little something special. What have you been on lately? And you know what? Let's maybe be on 2 things this week.
Well, I'm going to be on 3, but mine are going to be short. So one thing that I've been on is a book called An American Marriage by Tiare Jones. And she's an African-American author, and it's like actually a really good book just about Black love and marriage, and it's on Oprah's reading book list. So if you are looking for a summer read, check it out. You can read, you can read books on your phone, I'm just saying. And anyways, the second thing that I'm on and really excited about is Chance the Rapper. One, it was cool that he proposed to his boo on the 4th.
Only the best. Go out into the wild hundreds, be in the backyard and say, hey, by the way, here you go. Will you marry me? Very, very romantic.
Let's not get into your proposal. And then from there, I think it's cool that he proposed to her, but also that Kanye is coming back to the Chi. Maybe he could get his mind right, drive around these streets, driving his own neighborhoods and be like, oh yeah, I was tripping. It's cool that he's supposedly coming up to help produce Chance's new album, which I'm excited. It's a little long overdue, so I'm excited that he's doing that. And then my last thing that I've been on is Amazon and its treatment of its workers across the world. There's an Amazon boycott. A lot of people don't know this because people are already making their Prime Day lists, which I was as well, because we got a new baby and I need that car seat.
Car seats.
Car seat. So I was like, yes, Prime Day. Then I was searching the internet. They like, oh, it's an Amazon boycott because they straight got pregnant women in Spanish countries, unable to go to the bathroom, going to the bathroom in boxes, and don't want people to take sick days, long hours, and they won't give people benefits. Like in Europe, Italy, France, England, it's in a lot of countries across the world, India, where they're just not treating their workers with the respect they deserve. So if you can do it, think about either researching the boycott or boycotting them on Prime Day, even though Prime Day is bigger than Black Friday. So I get it if you're a little bit torn, but at least now you have the information. So, Coley, what are you on?
Joy, I've been on a couple of things. First thing, let's unpack all of this music that's come out this summer. It's been so long. We got so much to talk about.
So little time.
Yeah. Let's get into all of the good music releases. Let's list our favorites of the 4. I'm not counting Tiana Taylor because as of this recording, we haven't listened to it. But of the 4 that came out, rank yours from your favorite to your least favorite.
Well, let's just say the 4 that came out. So
yes,
it's Kanye.
Yep.
Kid Cudi and Kanye.
Yes.
Nas.
Yes.
And what's the 4th one?
Pusha T.
Oh, Pusha T was good music. My bad. Okay, well, if I had to rank, I'm going to have to rank Kanye and Kid Cudi as 1. I'll put Pusha T at 2. I'll put Nas at 3 and Kanye at 28 because that album sucked.
My list is a little bit different. Up top, I like Nas's album. I know a lot of people had a lot to say about it, but I think it was just a good piece of work. It was short. It was 7 songs, but I think as a body of work, I thought it was tight. I had Pusha T at number 2. I think he set a bar for himself, and he always clears that bar kind of easily. He's that dude that makes it look easy, even though it isn't. So he's always going to deliver us a quality product, but I think this one was even easier and even smoother. So I liked it a lot. Number 3, Kids See Ghosts. I think part of the reason I like that one is because number 4 was Kanye's album, and I thought that album just sucked. And so I thought Kids See Ghosts was just better than that. So you had it at number 28. I had it at number 29. So I think we're in agreement on what happened there. I will take a minute just on Kanye and his album, and I've had this debate with a lot of people. I think it's a little disappointing, all the extracurricular free thought movement he was going after on TMZ, and the MAGA and the Make America Great Again hat and the Trump stuff, and then not really being able to clear up the slavery is a choice comment. I think all of that stuff pulled away from the original music he was coming out with. That Lift Yourself song, the Poopity Scoop song, as most people know it, that was a cold beat. That was a cold beat. So if musically we were going to get an album that had that and other shit like that, I would have liked to have seen that make it out. So it's, I think it's a shame that his politics blocked the art.
I was like, oh, cool. Like, I was actually a little excited because the beat was so good. I get why he was doing Poopity Scoops. It's like he ain't got to rap because the beat's so good. So if the album was anything like that, it would be awesome. But you could tell he went back in the studio, changed everything, trying to prove some type of point that nobody even cares about. I mean, it's maybe one song on there that's lit like a radio track, but like, dude, like Kids See Ghosts, I put that at number one just because it saved Kanye. Like, okay, Kanye, you not all gone, but like, if you don't collaborate with somebody, like you just ain't got it. Like you stop trying to prove you can do it all yourself. Like you can't. Like your album proves you cannot do it all yourself. Like you're better when you collaborate. Just do that.
Yeah, but I think it was for 7 tracks. You would think he could deliver 7 tracks, but if you take his and Cudi's album, I guess you technically have 14.
It was horrible. Like the beats weren't bad. It was horrible.
Yeah, it was not. I don't think it was his first. It was his first work. It was something that he rushed to hit a deadline. So it is what it is.
And then he didn't even bring in the Bayhive.
Yeah. So I think before we get to that, I think what's interesting is Drake's album came out and how good music, along with Jay-Z and Beyonce, all got their music out before Drake did. I think once Drake announced I'm coming, I think everybody rushed to get their album out to make sure they get their play. I did think it was a little bit shady that Jay-Z and Beyonce dropped theirs the same day as Nas's, and then all of a sudden nobody could find Nas's album until like Saturday morning.
I did think that was shady as well,
but that is
unnecessary.
Yeah, I guess no honor amongst thieves, or all is fair in love and war, whatever you call it. I didn't like that, but everybody knew Drake was coming. Drake was in Wyoming with them. People forget that he was in Wyoming with those good music guys. Pusha T baited him and all that, back and forth. All that back and forth they had, that was all like a game of chess orchestrated by good music. So I think it's interesting that everybody did what they had to do before Drake came out, and Drake has a bona fide hit. He has a dance to it. They just had a dance with Will Smith. I don't know where he was. I just saw it on Will Smith's Instagram or on Complex. Will Smith, I think, was in Paris, and he climbed like on this bridge through this building and got to the top and started doing that dance. What is it? The shiki. Yeah, the shiki. And everybody's doing it now. So Drake got a bona fide. You can't out hit him. You can't out hit him. That is what it is. Say what you want. You can't out hit him.
I mean, the song that he has with MJ is quite pleasant as well. It's just like, dude, you don't need all them damn songs. Like, your point comes across like without all the songs, but maybe that was just a marketing thing to get all the most streams. Like, people might like track 17, so they streaming that nonstop. Or somebody else might like another one, so you gonna have more streams. You have so many songs to stream. Doesn't mean they're necessarily good, but I don't know. Drake, you not on my list, man. I get it, but no. Okay.
I guarantee you, she's gonna be tapping her feet or dancing to.
I'm not saying I don't like his song. I know he got hits. Nobody can question the fact that dude can make a good hook that's gonna stay in your head. He raps pretty much about the same stuff. He's found his lane. He sticks in it. He's 100% commercial. Is he hip hop to me? Like, not at all. Like, he's just not. He's not. That's like when somebody be like, Golden State's the best basketball team ever. If that's what somebody would say, Drake's the best rapper ever. Like, okay, like, no, sorry.
I just think he has the game unlocked. I think he got the game. I think as a mover, he got the game. Whether you put him in your top lyricist, that's a debate. He got the game unlocked. That's what he got the game unlocked. He knows
what does that mean? How does he have it unlocked?
He always, like, Listen, Pusha T had him dead to rights. He was gone. Hardcore hip hop people who like bars, wrote him off, and he came back like that shit never happened. Never happened. And he didn't even come back. People said, how is he going to come back from this? He came back. Nobody's talking about that anymore. Think about how crazy that is. Like a month ago, we thought he was dead.
Who really thought that? To me, like when they were having a beef, he had that song where he had Big Frida on the song, but didn't even have Big Frida in the damn video. You got Big Frida in the song, you still in New Orleans bounce, and ain't got nobody from New Orleans in your video. Like, to me, he's like the male Beyonce. Beyonce and Jay-Z and Drake, like, those would be their own category.
They got the game unlocked.
Yeah,
but
they shouldn't be in the category of just like rap. That's all I'm saying. They're pop music. He
Not
just
Jay-Z.
Well,
444 wasn't a pop album.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about their album combined, not Jay-Z by himself. Jay-Z is just basically Beyonce just gonna be singing, and then he's like the rap collab that's on R&B hits right now. No, Beyonce and Jay-Z album is not hip hop. That's pop music. So is Drake. Like, that's not, no, that's R&B, but not. It's like the new version of it.
I'll agree with you. I'm just saying they got the game that's the marketing game that goes along with the music.
They making money. It's no denying that. Like they making all all the money. Do they have all the respect? I think
they got enough.
They got enough.
They got a good portion of it.
Man,
they got a good portion of it. When people spend more time talking about Drake and what they don't like about him, you know he's done something right. Like I've sat around many conversations where people say, I don't like this album, I don't like this album, I don't like this album. Like, you've listened to all those albums for you to have that strong of an opinion. Whatever he's coming out with,
listen to his
you guys are listening to. And I'm with you. I don't listen to it either. That's the irony in it.
The whole Drake album.
I sound like I'm a Drake writer right now, but he does have a catalog. He does have hits. People thought he was dead a month from the time of this recording. And he's on top of the game like the shit.
I don't think anybody thought he was dead. I just think people were like, oh, he's slightly exposed. I mean, it would be the same as if somebody started going in exposing Beyonce's dirty laundry and then she was bold enough to respond, but then she's still Beyonce. Nobody cares. Like, nobody really like cares that much. Like, oh, Drake can't come back. Like, what's he gonna rap about? Like, you know what? He's probably not gonna rap. He's gonna sing some love hook, slow jam song that people are gonna listen to a bazillion times, and he's gonna make that money. Like, Drake, I'm telling you, if you a real basketball fan, you hate Golden State. You hate the way their team is coming together. It's the same for hip hop with Drake. If you was a real hip hop like rap, you're not finna be on Drake's nuts like that. Sorry, he's not that good. Like, he just be like, what do he talk about? What is he like? He just makes hits. He's pop. He's like a category called pop rap, like popular music rap. Like some 12-year-old white kid who thinks he's the best thing ever. Like, no, he's not. He's not. No. Sorry, no.
I don't think he's that bad.
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying he's not in the same lane as Pusha T to me. Like, I don't put Drake with Pusha T or Nas. Like, hell no. No. Drake? Are you kidding me? What's the show? Degrassi? No. Drake is like Justin Timberlake. Like, no, he's not. Like, you're not gonna put Justin Timberlake with Charlie Wilson. Even though Justin Timberlake really wants to be with Charlie Wilson, really wants to be with Al Green. Like, he want to be in that category. Like, dude, you ain't gonna never be there. Like, it just ain't happening. It's the same with Drake. He's never going to be there. He's pop. He's a pop music act.
He got bars along the way. I think
what's one of Drake's raps?
I don't listen to his music.
I
listen,
my ears bleed.
No, I mean, I like that song. What was that song? Swiss Beat. He did with Swiss Beats. Fancy. That was a nice song.
Fancy. She fancy, huh?
Yeah.
She fancy, huh? That's the song you talking about. He got bars on. He makes songs. He makes songs for black females. He makes songs for like girls in college, black females. He makes songs for like people just to chill, listen to, dance to. he made good songs, but
we
he ain't
we
no
all were rocking the
rapper.
Jumpman. We were in Austin together.
Jumpman, like
we
dude,
were all rocking the
yeah.
Jumpman.
But we weren't like, damn, that was the best rap I've ever. Damn, like I'm gonna like he don't talk about nothing like
nobody does,
and he was with Future. So that on Jumpman kind of don't count as it because he was with Future.
Where is this Drake passion coming from?
I've been hating Drake my whole damn existence. Where have you been?
You and your light skinned brethren. I'm surprised.
I'm not gonna be like he's the best. Like dude said, fancy. You need to get your fancy ass out of here. How you gonna say that?
I'm saying he got good songs.
Fancy.
I'm saying he got
now
good
when
songs.
Fancy came out, I was getting his hair done. Like we was getting
that
it,
same
but
dance.
Yeah, but I wasn't like, damn, I gotta listen to his whole album. I know the Bay Hive will come and sting me, but I've never listened to a whole Beyonce album all the way through. They're in the same category. She got hits, but it's not like I'd be like, man, I love track number 8. Like, nah, I just didn't connect with her like that.
I know not what she speaks of, Bay Hive. I've listened to every Beyonce album
from beginning to end
finish,
repeatedly,
except Lemonade because I didn't have that streaming service. But I can't wait to get engaged.
I'm not hating on Beyonce. It's just everybody has their. I get it. I get why she's Beyonce. I get it. I feel like she kind of talks about the same stuff, and Drake. She has an audience. She knows how to market towards their emotions. So does Drake. He knows how to market to their emotions, what they want to hear, and he puts it out. And that's what his talent is. Does he seem like it's coming from within himself? Like I said again, meh. He doesn't seem original to me. He just seems like he's gonna bounce on whatever is tight. Look at his lineup. Whatever is tight, I forgot. It's like a young new rapper that's out, and all of a sudden now he's a guest on the song, and a rapper that usually that did most of the song only has like one verse. Like if you think about what's his name, Dram had that song, I like the cha-cha. And then all of a sudden, now here comes Drake as Hotline Bling.
Bars.
He stole the damn beat. I think Beyonce did the New Orleans bounce sound. Now here come Drake doing the New Orleans bounce sound. Like, they both had Big Frida, which I'm always ride for Big Frida right now. They both had Big Frida on their damn song. Didn't have her in the video. Taking her, she's the bounce. I mean, come on, they not. Oh no, man. Give me another? Just for my own entertainment. Give me another Drake song that's bars, please.
Listen, just because he's singing it doesn't mean it ain't bars. My point, because we got a lot to still get to in this show. My point is, we spend more time talking about what Drake don't do as a way to undercut what he is doing, and I think that's interesting because we don't do that to many other people of his stature. And I'm just saying, for a dude that we find, like, the one thing that he did do well was chop people down the way he chopped down Meek Mill and kind of, played the social media game against him and showing pics on stage. Like, oh, he does that really well. Let's not fuck with Dre. We have Diddy on record saying, I want no pieces of that dude. Like, I hope me and him can get along. The one thing we thought he did well, Pusha T actually beat him at that. And when I said we thought we had him dead, it's like, the one place where people had respect for him was the game of the battle rap. Not saying he's the best battle rapper like a Cassidy. I'm just saying the game of the battle and integrating social media. He had that on lock. And now that gave him some cred in the hardcore hip hop community, which I feel like you fall into.
No, he never had.
I say that I'm pointing to you fall into. I'm saying, like, when he came after Meek Mill, who a lot of people like what he brings to this table musically. He went after him, cut him off. They had their battle. They squashed it. Meek went away. Now Meek's back. He's making money. Everything is good. Pusha T shot him down there. We all thought he was dead. And you think nobody thought he was dead. A lot of people thought he was dead. He came out like nothing happened. He came out unscathed. He's like that dude that's like, oh, wow, how did you get through that entire barbecue wearing an all-white outfit, including your Air Force Ones, and now you don't even have a grass stain, no barbecue sauce, no grease, nothing. Like, that's Drake. That's all I'm saying. And whether you think he's cold or not, I don't want to belabor the point. I'm just saying dude is that dude that showed up to the barbecue in an all-white outfit and got nothing on him.
Pusha T was number 2 on both of our lists.
Correct.
Drake is on another list. That's all I'm saying. He ain't on that list.
Yeah.
And he never will be.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Other thing that I've been on. The other thing that I've been on, you know, guys, we actually re-recorded that, and Nick thought we would get through it quicker. So 20 minutes later, we're through it. Other thing I've been on, and we're gonna unpack this one a lot quicker, is the number of black people having the cops called on them for everyday occurrences. There's like a whole long list, you know, Permit Patty, Barbecue Becky, Pool Patrol Paul, Newport Nancy, campaigning while black, eating while black, all of these things that have happened, and you can Google any one of these and get more on them. But these are all instances where you've had black people doing everyday things, ranging from swimming in their own swimming pool at their own condominium to selling water on the street on a hot day, that people have called 911 law enforcement to try to squash these situations. There's so much passive aggression going on in our society today that we're taking it, that for whatever reason, people feel that it's okay to take it out on minorities because they're perceived to be weaker. Stop that shit. Talk to people. Everybody wants to have a good time and treat everybody fairly. Pool Patrol Paul, if you want to check this young lady's pool tag, check everybody's pool tag. If you want to complain about the young girl selling water because she's too loud, why don't you tell her that, hey, she's a little too loud, but then give the girl $1, say, hey, but I support what you're doing, just so there's no drama. We don't want to see you the next day on your local NBC affiliate fucking crying because you got called out on your own bullshit, and now you lost your job on top of it because of your bullshit. Like, get it together. Just talk to people. Let's talk to each other. Love one another.
Yeah.
Whew. That was a lot, y'all, but we've missed y'all, and we've been talking about this stuff a lot at home, so we definitely want to share with you guys. So all that said, let's get to today's show.
The topic is actually about living together and how to make it work when you decide to make that move.
Yeah, so we're going to unpack the 10 things you should know and consider when moving in with the one that you love. So we definitely gave you guys 10 reasons why you're probably single. We're going to do another show on 10 ways on how to get a person. But, you know, Joy and I are in the process of, you know, expecting our second child. And we've been married over 6 years. And I can honestly say, in my 36 years of life, I've never been an organized, neat person. You go to my desk at work, shit's all over the place. Go to my home, shit's all over the place. And we finally bit the bullet and hired a personal organizer, which I always thought, like, are we that far removed where we need that? Are we, you know, that first world problem-ish where we have to do that? And the answer is yes. Yes, we were.
Answer is hell yes.
Yeah, so we hired a personal organizer. Joanna Capelli has done a great job and really probably saved this marriage. And got our house together. And the one thing, you know, we can, you know, we'll unpack a lot of it over the next however long we will record on this episode. The one thing is like, man, why didn't we do this before? And then the question started to come like, man, why didn't we do a lot of things before? And the answer is we never thought about it. So what we're going to do is give you guys the dummy's guide to living together. Save you guys a lot of pain and heartache before you move in with that special man or woman you love or like. And then you start to build from there. So the first thing we want to just kind of establish before we get into our reasons, and I think we're going to give you guys 10 things to know and consider before moving in together. The first underlying thing that we need to know is millennials are more likely to live together before they're married. And that's mostly driven because people are older and older when they get married. So right now, the average age of a man when they get married is 29 and women are 27. In 1990, the average was 26 for men and 23 for women. And in 1960, it was 22 for men and 20 for women. So when you really think about it, it's all around the same age, roughly, when we're all moving, when you're living in and cohabitating with somebody, but just the age we're actually getting married and making that commitment to each other is being driven further and further out. So knowing that, I think that that drives a lot of the reasons people are living together before being married, and that's why knowing these 10 jewels Joy and I are about to drop on you are important, just because of that. So number one, uh, big thing to consider, obviously, is the practicality because of cost. I mean, I think that one doesn't really require a lot of unpacking. It's taking two spaces and becoming one, and ideally you guys kind of live together and figure it out and budget your money so you can eventually get the palatial big house or space that you want later on in life. But I think while you guys are single, whether you have kids or not, I know that's a determinant. But whatever that is, I think knowing that you can save money on your actual rent, even though you're going to spend more money other places, is a big thing to consider when you're moving in. But really understanding how much you're saving by coming together.
Yeah, I agree. Like, you can save money, but you don't want that to be a primary reason for moving together, because once that's the primary reason, then that's kind of a recipe for disaster. And then also, if you just don't want to get into the roommate phase where it's just like you're not working together, it's like, yeah, you don't have rent anymore, but you're not like saving any money together. Like, you're saving as an individual, but you're not saving together. So if your goal is marriage, you have to keep in mind that you're trying to make two into one, not just like one plus one. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that goes with jewel number two. The fact that you're living together, there's a lot of pre-planning that should take place the moment you decide to live together. And a lot of that needs to be figured out and aligned to before you sit down and actually commit to a lease, and or some people go to the extreme of buying a place, right? So that's pure financial planning. That's getting down, looking at a spreadsheet, establishing how you want to spend your money. Do you want to, as Joy said, live as roommates where this is your half of the rent, this is my part of the rent. I see, make sure you have it on the first, and when I see you, or do you really want to have a joint account? And there's a ton of literature and approaches on how to separate costs, because one person might be making more than another. So do you make each person's contribution proportional to what they do? But definitely the financial planning, and then the legal planning, because unfortunately you do have to plan for what happens if we break up. A lot of times when two people move in new together, you buy new furniture, you buy a new TV, you buy a lot of new shit together. You guys almost have to have I saw the term no-nup in place, where it's a pre-agreement, and it basically says, I get the car, I get the TV, you can keep the house or whatever, you're responsible for the sale of the space or whatever it is. There's no-nups that you can have in place.
oh, okay. Well, that's new to me, because when we moved together, our ass didn't have no nup. We didn't have nothing. So I'm trying to. Okay. And also, if you think about the financial planning component, like, not everybody gets to like plan it out. Like, we're gonna move together on this date and all that. And let's say you just move together in a hasty way. It's still something that you need to, once you get settled, to bring up and talk about. And finances are hard to talk about. People get in their feelings. People have a certain way to do it, but you got to just like work through it, because that's a key component. Just with anybody, you got to work through that.
And if you're not able to work through it, marriage won't work out. Period.
It won't get better just because you get married.
Correct.
Yeah. Also, you have to pre-plan like your possessions, because you might have two of everything, two sofas, two chairs, two spatulas, two microwaves. Like, how are you going to bring all that together? Where is, your stuff going to come? I know when me and Coley moved together, I came from Milwaukee. I had a whole apartment, and I really didn't, in hindsight, I really didn't get rid of anything that was in my apartment, even though we had double of it, which can cause like arguments and annoyance and like clutter.
Yep.
So it's just one of those, like, talk about that before you make that move. Because if you with somebody and they not willing to get rid of stuff, like, that's gonna be a problem too. Like, if they not willing to like compromise or let stuff go to have like a comfortable shared space, you always gonna be arguing, because you're not gonna feel like it's your space.
Yeah, and that's definitely it. Like, that, and this is number 4 right here. Definitely pre-planning the space out before you move in. Like, you have to pre-plan the space down to the furniture, because we had 2 coffee tables, we had 2 sofas, you had a futon and a sleeper and a love seat. We had 2 queen size beds instead of just 1 king. I can't remember what else. I think somehow or another, I think the one place we figured out where dishes, kind of. I think that was the only place where we agreed on was dishes, and that's because we had small cabinets on our first condo. So
But yeah, when we moved together though, it was like we had two, like we came in more with the roommate mindset because I had my own room and he had his own room. So it was like the two queen beds. It wasn't like we weren't sharing a bed. So that was the so that was different in and of itself.
that's a great segue, and I think we're going to spend a little bit of time here on jewel number 5 we have here on whose space this actually is. I think a lot of times, some people can be going in together where you're going in and, apartment hunting or house hunting together and you're finding a space where it's truly a mutual space. There's also times where you could be moving into somebody's space that they've already bought and it kind of made their own. I think the reality is once you make that commitment of living together, I think there's the legal aspect of this is mine versus the practical reality aspect of this is ours. And I think in order for any relationship to be successful, it's not just about making concessions. It's really about understanding whose space it is and respecting the expectations that each other have before you go in. And if you are not aligning on that, it won't get better once you get married.
Yeah, it's like one of those, like if you're like, I mean, if you watch the show Married at First Sight, they bet the couples that kind of do a little better are the ones who like get their own place before they move together. Whereas when you moving into somebody else's stuff, like they're used to the toaster always being right here. They're used to the cereal being in this cabinet. And then when you move it, you have random freakouts because it's like you're rearranging their space. And like, it really has to be a conversation where the person is like willing to be like, okay, this is our space. Cause if the person going in still has this mentality that it's theirs and this is mine, you're just kind of an addition. It's not, and you're never going to really feel like it's yours. And so you just got to probably like talk about like, how can we make this our space? How can we make this a joint space? The way we did it, I don't know if it was the best, but I just had my own like room and he had his own room, but I feel like we could have did a lot better because once we got married, we were forced to eventually like make it our space and we hadn't really practiced that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had, the gift and the curse. The awesome part was, I was already living in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath condo, like solo. So we had the space to bring everything in. We didn't have to make those tough decisions on, a new bedroom furniture, living room furniture. We didn't have to make those tough decisions. I think like the kitchen was the only place where we had that, where it was easy because I don't even remember if you had a table or not, but that was the only place where we used the furniture. But even then, you didn't love my furniture because mine was like counter height furniture. So it all came kind of, full circle in the end where we had the space. So we didn't have to we didn't have to purge at all, to be honest. And it really wasn't until we had a child that we had to start to purge. And now that we have child number 2, the need to purge is even deeper. And I think had we started there from the get-go or just found a space that was ours, whether I, put my spot on the market and or had that mindset coming in that we're just going to start over or we're going to spend this much money and then go. I think the other thing too, Joy, to the point that you were making about changing the space around, I think there's not a lot of, it sounds, I was talking earlier about, people not talking to each other. It's very easy as a couple to just look at this person like almost as your opposition. Like, why doesn't she just do X, Y, and Z? Why does she need a toaster and a toaster oven? Well, I like a toaster better. Like that's an answer. So we had just, let's make it work. If that, you know what I'm saying? Or why does he have the toaster oven here? Well, I have it here because the counter is small. And when I do cook, I don't want to have to move the toaster oven, but I use a toaster oven often. So let's put this here. I feel like we don't have those like when I say we, I think people, but sometimes even us, we don't have those conversations to find out why something might be the way it is, because there might be intention and as to how this person has the space laid out. And you might be able to lay it out even better if you know what that intention is, or there might be nothing at all. And you might be like, okay, we're doing it this way because this will be better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just communicating. But I mean, I guess when you're living together, I don't know if this is one of the points, but I think there's always going to be that level of insecurity a little bit with living together because you're not fully committed, you're like almost there, but you know deep down some people still break up after living together. So you're still in that kind of like, I'm trying to please them, but I'm trying to show them who I really am, but I'm not fully, because you still trying to like get married and get fully committed. So you might not speak up as much, or you might deal with something a little bit more, and then in the back of your head you're like, when we get married, this has got to change, or this can't go on. And then you find yourself like, oh shit, like it's still going on, or you're always arguing. So it's like one of those, you're not fully secure in a relationship just because you're living together. So you have to be able to speak up and not be afraid that it's going to end. And if you do have that feeling like, if I speak up, it's going to end, like maybe you shouldn't be with that person.
To your point there, for me, once we got married, my thing was, the time before we got married was the time to break off any bad habits. I guess that was like my thinking in my head. So if there was a bad habit or something that you didn't like, we would address it before we got married. Now that we're married, it clearly doesn't bother her, and or she actually embraces this part of me or how we live. So it shouldn't be a problem now that we're married, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't like the way I clean a bathroom, or you don't like the way somebody plants flowers, like if they're doing that and then you get married and then all of a sudden you want to change, that's kind of like a kick in the nuts. It's like, well, why didn't you say something before I committed to this thing? I didn't think this was even an issue, let alone something that needed to be changed. That's kind of the, like, was my thinking going in, and has been my thinking for a long time. But obviously 6 years in, and once you get a kid, like, you have to evolve, you have to change. But I think a lot of people think, well, I know I can say I thought if there was a problem with anything, that it would be addressed before we got married. And once we said I do, it was no longer a problem, just an opportunity to build and improve. But that's not reality.
I think that's a valid point. I just think with living together, like I said, it's like a level of insecurity. It's like you don't know what's really going to happen. You're still trying to figure yourself out, plus who you are with this new person. And then at the same time, you may have brought it up, but was it heard as like clearly, or maybe you brought it up, but it wasn't clear.
Good point.
To the person, because it's like, I'm not finna sit here and be like, I didn't say something, because I know I did, but it might not have been heard, or it might not have been like seen as important to me as it really deep down was.
Yeah, it might have been a level 8 or 9, and your
but the
partner
way I
could
said
be
it
like
was like a 2.
Correct.
Right.
And
yeah.
So I think that's the thing. Like, I mean, we'll get into communicating with your partner in another episode, because that might be a series. But I think that is something to be said. Like, just how do you appropriately communicate the importance of something? And everything can't be DEFCON 10. Everything can't be DEFCON 10, especially when you're living together. But you do have to find a way to pretty much communicate your non-negotiables, or the things that really do bother you, because it might not really bother the other person. But once you say I do, and then there's wholesale changes that need to come, your partner's going to shut down and say, what the fuck did I just sign up for? This is not what I signed up for. So we got to figure this out. Fortunately, I don't think we've had anything major like that, you and I, but there's small things that, have come up along the way that it's just like, oh, she really doesn't like this. Why didn't she say nothing about this pile of clothes I had in the corner? I didn't know it really bothered her. So, yeah. So we got a couple more points we want to unpack there, but I think, we want to definitely spend some time. Like, you have to establish whose space it is. The answer is it's both of your spaces. And then you just need to respect each other and each other's personal property, along with each other's feelings along the way within your joint space. Yeah. So it's your space. It's y'all space, your things, but you're one. You got to really move as a unit, because you're not roommates.
Yeah, So I think just make sure that if you say something, if something bothers you and you say it and then it keeps happening, then that means that the way you communicated it wasn't clear, so that the person understands that it bothers you. And when you're living together, this is the practice time to be like, oh, I said this, he's still doing it. Like, let me reevaluate myself and figure out how can I say it in a different way to get this point across, instead of being like, dude just doesn't care. he doesn't respect me. Like, he's just doing his own thing. Maybe it's the way you saying it that it's not clear. So what's the next point?
Living schedules. I think once we moved in together, me being in the marketing field and more or less having a salaried office job, my hours were pretty much 9 until. So, probably 9 to 7 was a typical day, but a lot of days, especially when I was on that grind, 9 to 10 was very typical. And you were a teacher, so your days during the week were pretty much 6 a.m. and you were home by like 4 or 5. So really,
6 sometimes.
The first 2 years we lived together, we only saw each other on the weekends, even though we lived together. Like, you were gone before I even woke up, and you were in bed by the time I got home, probably 3 days out of the week. So I think once, it's where you might see each other a lot on dates, or you might, spend the night at somebody's house. But once you live together, you'll realize your life schedules might not match up as well as you would think just because you live together. So how you actually move in the house, how you grocery shop, how you plan is a lot of it's gonna pivot off that other person's schedule and their needs. And I think that's something that we got to consider when moving in with one another.
Yeah, there's nothing more to say.
Chores and responsibilities. That's I think this is number 7.
Yeah, 7 or 8.
Yeah, chores and responsibilities. That's a big thing that you have to figure out, because along with this new shared space, who's actually doing what? You might find out you might have dreaded your whole life doing dishes. You might find your partner finds doing the dishes cathartic. Your partner might hate taking out the garbage. You might want, oh shit, I get to get out the house. I'll take it out gladly. So, but you have to come up with those chores and responsibilities and stick to your schedule and your obligations as best you can. Otherwise, the shit won't get done.
Yeah, well, or otherwise, it's not that it won't get done. Otherwise, the other person's gonna feel like they're getting left to carry the load. So it's just like, and that can build like resentment too. So it's like, either it's not gonna get done because y'all both tired, or one person's gonna be like, damn, I'm always doing this, carrying the load. And then you randomly arguing about like stuff that don't really matter in the scheme of things. But if you could just like come together without feeling like you still teens, like as a wife, I don't want to come off, or girlfriend, you don't want to come off as like somebody's mom because you constantly asking them to do something. And then I'm assuming as the boyfriend or husband, you don't want to be talked to like a child. So it's just like, hey, how can we come together, get the dishes loaded, get them unloaded, and like live peaceably? Like, and sometimes it's too a matter of just something with cleaning up house. Like, what are your like 5 pet peeves that when you see this, you're like disgusted? So this needs to be cleaned up on a regular basis. Because some stuff that bothers you might not bother the other person. So they don't even see like the dirt around the toilet. They like, but that's like something that sincerely grosses you out. So it's just like a matter of talking about like, here's my pet peeves. Here's the things I need to be clean so I feel like comfortable in my home. And then working around that and just like build upon it. So it's just easier.
Absolutely. Number 8, you're going to spend more time together. And I know that sounds like a pro, but you're going to spend more time together.
It could be a pro and a con.
It's very easy to build a lot of intimacy and fondness, over dates and over fun scenarios, going to weddings together, going out to eat, even going to the club. And then you can just go home and sleep it off and get up, go to the gym and do your own thing. But now that you're together, it's not that easy. You're not living your own life. You're living a life together, whether you got that ring on it or not. Once you're living with that loved one, again, you're not roommates. So you have to figure out how you cohabitate and make time together, work out together. Because I could tell you, fellas, she's going to have that expectation that you're going to brunch one day that weekend, whereas you probably don't want to.
I ain't never made your ass go to brunch.
We went to Pearl's place every day.
Your ass wanted to go there.
Pearl, because it's delicious.
It wasn't me, so get that out of here.
It's not. I'm not just talking to you. I know. I'm not just saying. I'm not talking about you per se, but I think you have to understand there's going to be expectations on you now that you're together, because you're effectively now taking the place of some of her friends. So you have to fill that void in some ways, because you are spending more time together, which inevitably means that's less time someplace else. So you have to fill each other's voids.
Yeah, it's true. Or I think too, like, you have to be willing to like be with their friends too. Like you might be hanging out more with their friends, especially if you move from two different cities. Like if you're moving into their city, into their space, like you're going to be more around their people. So you have to be open to that. You have to just be open to like their world. And that takes time and it can be annoying, like, especially if you've been independent for like 5 years and now you got to like share time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Number 9, and I think we've hit this point a couple of different times. It's very easy to move in and become roommates, but once a kid comes along, being roommates doesn't work because you can't split a kid in half. You have to share responsibilities. You can split grocery money in half. You can have
Electricity.
your milk. You can split my milk, electricity, cable bill. Once you have that kid and ultimately get to that marriage, finish line, and then that kid is that next race you're on, you can't be roommates. So you really do have to figure out how you become one, and you really become partners, because that's the only way you're going to be successful after living together as single people, after living together as engaged people, to married people, to now parents, because that's your number one job. Like job of parent becomes number one, and the role of husband, spouse, friend, partner can easily fall to number two, especially during those kids years, because you'd be surprised how many people don't talk about how they would want to raise their kids. Joy and I had a great conversation this week on just some of our ideals and things we want from our kids, things that we saw as kids, like, damn, I wish my parents would have did X, Y, and Z, but they did the best they could. And there's going to be some stuff our children say about us in that regards. But we have a lot of shared ideals, and I think, we're fortunate, because I don't think we fully spoke everything through before we started making babies. But I think, just having that conversation was reassuring, because you're my partner, and we're going to just make something good happen.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything further. What about is it last point, greater intimacy, which could advance progression of marriage, or is that combined?
That's number 10.
Oh, okay.
That's number 10. So, with moving in, you have to understand, what is your ultimate goal with that person. If your goal off the rip is just to save some money and then figure it out if you break up. We all saw that movie, To Break Up, with Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn. But like, what's your ultimate goal? And if you're moving in with somebody, I would think 8 times out of 10, marriage is that next logical step of making that commitment with each other. I can say for me, when Joy and I moved in together, it was no longer, I think she might be the one. It was, she's probably the one. Let me make sure, we're not going to fuck this up. So let's give this a 9-month, a year run, and then let's see where it is, and let's go from there. That was my thinking in my head by the time she graciously showed up at my doorstep with a U-Haul truck that I had to drive. So, yeah. So, if you're just understand what your partner's long-term expectation is. Like, do you see this person as your partner for life, as your spouse? Because if you're not moving towards that and the other person thinks you are, everything else that we just spoke about is going to fall to shit.
Yes, I would agree. When we moved together, I was just like, let me move with this N-word to see how he really lives, so I can see if I want to marry him. Like, at least it should be something where you want to decide if you want to take it to that next level. And I would say, if you are thinking about taking it to the next level, you got to take into consideration the haters and all the like random stuff that's going to come with moving together, because that's really is getting you ready for marriage, and all like the hate you're going to deal with and people having comments. I mean, you always going to have somebody say, oh, y'all living in sin, y'all shacking up, he's getting the milk for free without buying the cow. You might have a friend that's upset that y'all living together. So you have to, like, it's not just going to be easy breezy roses. Like, you probably will be arguing more than you did before you lived together. Like, you're going to have more conflicts you're going to have to fix and figure out. And you're going to have people who are going to have opinions. And then you're going to have your own insecurities. Like, will this work? Did I waste my time? Do I need to start looking for an apartment? So you got to really have some type of commitment or hope going in, because there's going to be a lot of obstacles you really are going to have to face in that union.
Yeah. And living together is that first step. And again, if you every journey begins with a single step, and if you and that person ain't taking that step together, just don't do it. Even if you might save $1,200 a month, it ain't worth it, because you're going to spend a lot more on the back end. And you'll probably have a kid out of it. So that wraps up our 10 things to know and consider before moving in. We hope you found that helpful. And before we sign off this episode, we just want to, talk about things we wish we would have known. So, Joy, what's something that you wish you would have known?
Something that I wish I would have known is how many people take the time to plan out key components of their life, like moving together. And it doesn't have to be just impulsive. It can really be planned out, and just the importance of planning. That's the main thing I wish I would have known and that I'm learning now. Just the importance of planning in advance can make your life so much easier in the future. So just make that plan. It's hard to say no, but you just got to say no, because everybody has heard no before. So if you got to say no, just say no. Don't feel bad about it, so that you won't be regretting it like down the road. Just say no, or just say yes, or just say I don't like that, or just say I don't want this here. Like, you got to speak up, or you won't get what you want. It's the saying, closed mouths don't get fed. I mean, it's true. Like, you can't be like passive aggressive and be like, I don't want to do this, and you had the opportunity to say that and then you didn't. It's like, you got to speak up. You got to talk for yourself. The only person gonna stand up for you is you. That's it.
I think that's very well spoken. Can't think of how many times there's been something that I wanted and I just didn't say I want that, or hey guys, can I be a part of what you're doing? And a lot of times people will say yes, but just because you don't get an invite doesn't mean you're not wanted.
Yeah, just speak up.
Yeah. So one thing I wish I would have known, Joy, is just I wish I would have known no matter how much money you make, you will spend to that level of money. So in college, when you had your work study job making $7 an hour, you lived your you were living large in Officer's Mission. I did leave, I think, at like $8.25. No big deal. I was in that top band, and I was in the financial aid office. I could see what everybody was making, but it's neither here nor there. But when you were making that much, that's how you were living your life. When you got your first job, entry level, making $30,000. That's how you were living your life. You had roommates, you did whatever you had to do, or if you were still staying with your parents, that's what you did. I could see us, Troy, if we were millionaires, be saying, dang, I wish, if we could only get some more money, we could actually do X, Y, and Z. So I just say, wish I would have known, like, no matter how much money you make, your life is going to always expand where you want more stuff. So you have to stay on the grind. There's really no amount of money that can bring you happiness. And I kind of get that saying more. It's just about understanding what does make you happy, and do you have the means of doing that? And then can you live comfortably with whatever left? So money rules everything around us.
Money can't buy you love.
That's true. So that's Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody podcast. I think this is episode 7?
Yeah, 7. We're almost to 10.
Oh man, I think we have to do something special on 10, eh?
Hopefully I can damn drink.
Yeah.
Pop this kid out.
Oh, well, yeah, we'll probably get another episode in before that happens, at least maybe 2.
Hopefully 2.
But guys, if you want to hear any guests or want to hear us talk about any topic, please hit us in the comment section of our YouTube or Instagram pages. That's our most frequent social channels. Our website is going to be under development, and we're going to be looking to expand on our SoundCloud. But be patient with us as we get everything ready for baby girl. And thank you for listening.
Thank you.
We're out.